The LPL is back here in Game 3 between SDG and Vici Gaming. Just saw a really close series. The second game, Vici really just killing it, especially in the bottom lane. Southwind getting so many hooks, so many engages there, saving the game for his team.
Yeah, and he's going to be running away with this one, the MVP. Southwind was a baller this one. I like it. Remember, first series coming into it, got an MVP in his game 1. Excellent. This time around, kill participation 93%. That's literally one kill that he wasn't a part of. That was just the rise in the bottom lane, getting the solo kill on Sion. And he's probably looking at Jay saying, you need any help with that one? You need anything? I can come in with my Ardent
Do I need to buy Redemption?
Yeah, you need anything, buddy? Okay, maybe. Are you thirsty? No, but like legitimately, Southwind was insane on the map. His hook started a lot of the team fights, then ended a lot of them because he was maxing it. Get a lot of cooldown reduction off of it based off of landing it, and guess what? He benefited off of all of them. So really well played from him.
And he really was the X factor. Like, you look at this team fight, and without that hook, the entire fight would have been lost.
Yeah, I mean, look, he immediately was given a colleague the chance to just demolish Lucian, the one carry that Gala has been doing exceptional on. Take a look at the second one on Twyla. So 2 of the carries getting taken down. Look how low Vici were as a squad with a splash damage, Rise ready to just fire off. He was the reason why they won a lot of their fights. So MVP is necessary there. I think one of the biggest aspects that differentiate this series from Suning, not only just higher competition in the Suning series, but it really feels like Chalitza is online, that he's doing well 2 games in a row in his laning phase. Vici are getting to the point where they can go into 20 minutes, 25 minutes, fairly even, I would say, even ground. They're picking themselves compositions that are not beneficial in the early game, but it's not like they're missing a step.
What do we want to see going into the Game 3 here? Because I feel like for SDG, they didn't push hard enough. Because they had leads. They had like a 10 CS lead in all 3 lanes at one point. Jungle was doing fine. They'd gotten an objective. But the problem was they didn't really push it. And Vici's entire squad was based on, hey, let's just scale up.
Look, I think that one thing that Dog8 is going to be saying to his squad, or at least I'm just going to be saying for SDG, they're probably going to be talking in the back, and that's probably something they'll say as well. Personally, I would say the opposite. I would say that they were actually doing quite well. Rift Herald take was exceptional. They took down bottom lane faster than most. The issue was that they went too hard. The issue was that Thresh got an opportunity to get a few 2-man flays early on in the game when SDG were actually already ahead. They actually could have dialed that back when they were looking on towers, and a lot of the openings wouldn't exist that Vici were actually finding. So 20 minutes in, when Thresh finds the flay, that replay that we saw at the very end of it when SDG had a lead, we're looking to Dragon, and we're actually in a pretty good position to run towards Baron, but once again, they get caught pants down. So these are issues where they're actually really they're trying to speed it up as much as possible, but they're actually just getting caught because it seems like Thresh has their number. This is again just going to be a Southwind take because he found so many of these. This is another example of them pushing up on towards the mid lane without a wave, without extra members. So this is essentially Lucian, who had been performing so well in this game up until this point, and then he gets caught out alone against the Thresh hook. So a lot of times players will come out of that and say, I'll just play better, right? I'm not going to get hooked the next time. But you have to really give respect to Thresh players that do come up and play well. If you go up against Mako and he plays Thresh, you're going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to be taking into consideration how I'm playing, or at least my team's playing, how we're coordinating around the map, because he's just going to get a few hooks. It's just going to happen. This time around, they disrespected Southwind as a Thresh player, and they really paid for it. So I think that if the same draft ends up happening, it's not just going to be Lucian, thinking more about how he's going to duck and dodge the hooks. It's more so, I'm going to need my team here because what are we trying to accomplish on the map? If we're here to take that mid lane turret down, be here and prepared for it. The Morgana's next to me, be prepared for the Black Shield. A lot of that not really thought about when the team was going for it.
And I think adding on to that, something we didn't have in Game 1 but we did in Game 2 was that Chalitza was a factor.
Oh,
because in the 1v1, sure, he'd gotten the 2 kills on Chonghong in Game 1, but he didn't really do a whole lot around the map. But this last game, We saw him go in with the Sion ultimate at like 11 minutes, was just like, I'm coming, boys. You better be ready for a fight. And in the middle of a team fight, here comes Sion, disrupts the entirety of SDG. And it, quite frankly, screwed SDG over. And from there, they lost a lot of that momentum they'd been building up.
That's true. And they need momentum with the early game leads that they were accruing. So, like, the fact that Chaliza, and all of that was based off the early trades that the Sion got. If you look towards Sion versus Urgot, a lot of the times you're like, okay, range advantage for Urgot. He's going to light him up. Didn't happen. In fact, Sion got some freakish trades that shouldn't have happened. So, once again, Changhong in the back is going to be thinking about, like, what did I do wrong in this lane? Why am I messing up 2 games in a row? Third game, I do not think that Changhong will be making mistakes once again, or you're going to have serious worries and doubts. Or maybe at the same time say, you know what, Chaliza is a baller. In the next series, we're going to continuously play him rather than always in the back of Chaliza's mind thinking, is Audi going to be coming out this series? Is it going to be the next? I think right now he's performing well to give him that standing.
And I think so far, I mean, Changhong hasn't been looking good. Let's be quite frank, because we've seen him a lot, and we've been saying, oh man, SDG, Changhong, such a good top laner, so good in the lanes, so good at the team fights. He's good all-round contributor to the team, and he brings a lot. But these 2 games, we've really seen him look scared. We've seen him look off. He's lost lane matchups that I feel like he should win, and that the matchup dictates he should be doing better in.
When it gets to game 3, usually that's when teams go back to what has been comfortable for them in the past. For SDG, losing game 2 in the fashion they did, sure, Gala has been playing well on his Lucian, but now he's going to be like, okay, give me the Kai'Sa. And it's going to be Changhong saying, okay, why did he get the chance to play the Sion? I'm a great Sion player, and I know that I had a better matchup, but I'm confident enough, and I've done it in the LDL and in the last few series, to pick an even matchup, if not worse, but better, significantly better in team fights. We should be winning these team fights out consistently if I'm on a tank option. So that's what I'd expect going into game 3 here for SDG.
Because confidence is so important, right? Especially in these longer series. In best of ones like you see in North America, it's like, okay, yeah, you got to be confident for game 1, but you don't have the chance to get tilted between games. When we have best of 3s, that becomes a factor. You have to say, okay, Changhong, what would make you feel comfortable again? What would reset you? And if it's the Sion, I expect SDG to pick that Sion. I expect them to pick more towards the comfort. And Vici maybe doesn't have to as much.
Yeah, immediately as you can see going into the pick and ban. That could be an Urgot first pick, but no, SDG, if they go towards the Akali, that would be, it's either one or the other. I think SDG should go towards the Urgot. But you could already see Urgot as a pick has been losing priority just based off of these lacking success that he's had in the last 2 games.
Well, we've seen this matchup before, though. The Akali versus the Urgot. It did not go great for Changhong, so Vici locked that in. He's going to be having a little bit of memories of that, and he needs to switch it up this time. Of course, we see the Thresh has been banned. Makes sense. Southwind absolutely just dominated on that, but now the Lucian being picked up by Vici, taking it away from SDG.
And it's Puff's Lucian. You remember what happened when they went up against Suning? It was Puff's Lucian just slaying Sword Art and SMLZ. So it just seems like Vici Gaming, last 2 games, we saw them just playing back, scaling. This time around, this is a lot of fire that they have in side lanes. Not only is Urgot a great lane matchup, and Changhong is going to be threatened, but it's also just the bottom lane. It's going to be Puff and Southwind having the chance to actually fight back.
And it's going to be a whole lot easier against that Kai'Sa. She doesn't really have that good of an early lane, especially before 6. And now the Rakan being picked up gives them a lot of engage, but against the Lucian, I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah, but it's SDG doing exactly what we said in the, or at least just going into this game. They want to play through team fights. It's Gala saying, give me the Kai'Sa, and I will win you these fights, not the Lucian. And it's the same here when Mark goes towards the Rakan option. He could do Alistar, but Rakan is so much easier to follow up on. They may not have Galio, but remember, the Camille is still open, and Xiaopan could pick it up. I just want Vici Gaming to ban it out outright.
We'll see what they do, you know. Xiaopeng has a deep enough champion pool to survive the bans. We've seen him play Lee Sin a lot. Nocturne and Nidalee are the other 2. So he can play those assassins. He can play Kindred like you had been mentioning earlier. But Vici, don't want him getting that Nocturne for 1.
I don't think the Nocturne is worth a ban. We saw what Nocturne was able to provide when Ike's was on the option. I don't think you have to worry about the level 6 engage that he has here with the lane presence that you have. What I would love, getting these level 2 gankers out of here. Xin Zhao and Camille need to be off the map. So one of them is going to be up and available, and Xiaopeng's going to pick what's on in the scraps. There we go. Xin Zhao is available along with Lee Sin. So it just comes down to what Xiaopeng wants. He's going to be comfortable with either pick.
Now SDG have the option. Do they want to ban one of those out, or do they want to keep focusing onto Jay in the mid lane? They've already banned out the Zoe for him. They don't want him having that kind of power over the matchup. It looks like, once again, taking away the LeBlanc and the Zoe from Jay.
All right, but Jay could play right now. Remember, the Ryze was the option in the last game. A great matchup into the Akali. I would expect that to be the case here for, again, Jay may have had a bad Ryze game in game 1, but it was not simply because of him. There's a lot of it just how the composition played out. If Jay looks to his side, if he looks to what the picks are already there, Lucian and Urgot, he should be more than willing to pick the Ryze in this matchup.
Now they're going to give the opportunity.
No!
Ah, they
Wow.
gave it over. SDG had a chance. Looks like they want to take it.
But like, there are so many junglers up. There's the Olaf, Xin Zhao obviously. There's the Lee Sin. Ike's should be comfortable in all of the above. He's a great Olaf player. There's no reason to pick up the Xin Zhao now. Well, I mean, if you're just SDG, lock it in. Like, you take away the counter matchup that was available.
Please no. Please stop.
All of these options, yes. Mastery immediately.
I see you and I have different. Okay. All right. Well, Raz, you have a lot more knowledge of this than me. Rek'Sai, how you feeling about that one?
So I like Rek'Sai in the current meta, early game gank pressure, and so he's working alongside the Ryze here. Expect really early game presence on that one. Also on top of that, remember one of the major benefits of Rek'Sai was one of the runes that got buffed, Hail of Blades. I would expect that to be the pickup. If it's not, then remember you can still go towards press the attack. The matchup is okay versus Xin Zhao. I still like Xin Zhao in the matchup, unless if there are any changes based off of what Hail of Blades provides. But this is gank pressure, man. He just wants the early game, Black Cleaver on the map, and let's go. So I think that right now, Xiaopeng wants something.
So Raz, while we were talking about that interesting pick, Vici picked up Ezreal, and that's going to be a mid lane Lucian.
Oh! I mean, I'm a slow person, so I was like, yeah, what about Ezreal? Oh,
Yeah,
right, Lucian
oh,
is
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
well, that's really fun. Jay is so damn confident coming into this one. Sure, he may have lost the Ryze, but he was more than willing to. This must have been like information that you get in scrims. Like, I like Ezreal. I mean, I like the Lucian into the matchup. A great duelist. Press the attack. So while a lot of the times people are like, Ryze should have a free lane matchup with how many AD, AP bruisers that are out there. Maybe even like Galio. People have been picking the Ryze into that one. But then suddenly change it up. Counterpick. Lucian. It's crazy that you have this confidence to bring it out into a game 3. But it looks like Jay has something to say. He wants that MVP. He's gunning for it.
Double ADC. Mid lane, though, wants to be the one to take away the MVP, pulling out the mid lane Lucian. Of course, Xie, in our very own LPL, made that one pretty famous against Orianna specifically, but I'm interested to see how it does into the Ryze.
Yeah, and remember, Orianna was a champion that had, at the time, consistent AP damage that could dish out. Like, Orianna, at that time in 2017, was able to just walk up to most of lane opponents, chip them out, push them back, chip on tower, and in this case, Ryze feels like the same thing. Lower range, though, and I think that's the most important factor of it. Ryze has significantly lower range than the Orianna. So for Lucian into this matchup, he wants to run wild. The only thing I have to worry about is that it's going to be that Rune Prison and that Rek'Sai who's looking for you.
This mid lane is going to be a big focus for us here in this matchup. Who's going to win it out? Will it be the Lucian with the help of Xin? Or is Twilight going to run over him with the Ryze and chasing him up the Rek'Sai? We'll find out. So we're about to go into game here. Game 3, the final of the series between SDG and Vici Gaming.
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going. I want to hear as much as possible. The
They're
guy
feeling
is not satisfied with the last chant, so why not just create your own chant there?
SDG superfan #1, we hear in the audience. But now, Jay starting off, a little bit of poke on the Twyla. And I am so excited to see both Rek'Sai and Lucian picked up Raz, because one of the things I love in League of Legends is adapting to the meta using picks we don't normally see. So having this change up here in 9.1, really exciting. But we were talking about the keystones going into this, and it looks like Xiaopeng has opted for the press the attack.
Press the attack still does quite a bit of damage. Something to watch out for. One thing that hurt Rek'Sai, he was already out of the meta, but then Tiamat got nerfed. For a lot of junglers. Like, it was directed towards the Camille's in the world, but remember, there's a little Rek'Sai that still wanted that item. And so for him, he still has pretty good clear. Actually went to Raptor's clear. No jungler goes for it, but he has the AoE Q to get it done. Press the attack gives him the trade that we were talking about. So, knowing that he's going up against Ix, I still give it to the Ix. Ix is Xin Zhao in the 1v1. But still deals so much DPS and ganks that he's looking for. But god damn, Changhong, what's happening?
I don't know. He had the level advantage and went in on Chalitza and was like, okay, I got it, I got it, I got it. Oh no, I don't have it, I don't have it, and lost 70% of his health. So this lane already going very poorly for Changhong.
Yeah, he still has sustain and fleet work and everything, but this is usually where junglers find themselves on the top side of the map. So Changhong, losing wave control, is really afraid of what's to come.
Now, Twyla just keeping control over this mid lane just to make sure that Jay can't get too much poke on him.
I was close, man. I was about to be. That's when you do exclamation arc cannon, because you know so close to losing it, but still gets it for himself.
Xiaopeng now going to be looking towards these Krugs. Ix is on this side of the map though, so we might see a scrap around the top side, but instead, Ix looking towards mid as Twyla Q going just a little bit wide. That hurts.
It hurts a little bit, man, but at least he didn't lose the trade that hard. I'm always worried whenever you're going up against the press the attack Lucian, but still comes out unscathed.
Both junglers spotting each other, deciding it's not really worth the effort. Now Xiaopeng going to go for the back.
And that's the best part about the Rek'Sai pick here. We saw Levi pick it up. It was a losing game, though, when he had it. But for Rek'Sai, he's able to just trace, counter jungle. Oh, though, good invade, a lot of chunk on Puff.
And Mark is still positioning aggressively for this. They just want the return onto Southwind, but not able to get the proc, so just going to go back to farming.
Yeah, Puff doesn't have much mana. They still have teleports there, but it just comes down to who has teleport advantage. If Puff is put in a position where the sustain that he has isn't enough and has to base, then you're suddenly far more comfortable playing around bottom lane around Mark and Gala. So once again, back to the point about the Rek'Sai option is that he can trace the Xin Zhao incredibly well without having to commit to a fight or vision. Really just has to be on the same side of the map as Xin Zhao, and he's been doing just that. So he's been able to keep up in pace, farming a little bit better, and on top of that, he's been able to kind of impact the lanes. Bottom lane's doing well. Twyla in a poor matchup has also been able to be on top of it. So right now, I'm pretty happy if you're Sino.
But once again, question mark in the top lane. Changhong, is he going to be able to pull it back? But once again, is Chalitza going to get the better of him? So far, we've seen it go both ways within one matchup, and he's looking potentially for the dive here. Doesn't have Ignite, so won't have much kill pressure, but just enough to get first blood.
Man, this is when you're just so upset about Shroud existing in the game. You know, obscurity. He's able to just walk up and just hit you for free under tower. But that's just how life is. There's no jungler around. Ix was not going to be anywhere near you. And it was just Chalitza all on his own, hoping that he had some shred of vision so he could fight back. Throw out the Q. But at that point in time, he was just way too low, and Changhong found the kill.
And during that, Changhong now has enough money for the Seeker's Arm Guard, picking that up.
Oh no, we have to see it again. This is the sad thing about all of this. But he was already way too low. Even though he had the shield from using his W, it was just easily taken down. Sad thing about this too is that Changhong didn't even have to take that much damage. He went straight through the middle of the Shroud, so of course that's where the tower will get you. If he went the long way around, would have been pretty healthy and would have been able to push one more wave before basing.
So he's still going to be down in CS, but that kill will make up for it. Twyla maybe looking for a gank here, but he doesn't have a whole lot of mana, so both of them just going to back. Xiaopeng does have 6 now, though, so I suspect he's going to look for another one once he's back.
Right now, Twilight just wants a tier. That's usually would at least get your first base, teleport right back on the map when you're able to get it, but there's just so much pressure in the lane, so he's only got it now. He's going to have to walk up to the lane manually, using his legs like a peasant. This makes me sad, and he's going to lose a few minions because it's not a cannon wave, so we'll have to see. Unless if Jay doesn't push it fast enough. There we go.
Yeah, he's going to lose a little bit. But red buff now for Xiaopeng. He's going to have a lot more sticking power in the ganks, and we still haven't seen this Rek'Sai do much in the early stages of the game. Yes, he's tracked Ice. Yes, he's gotten higher farm, but we really expected the ganks to be the big differentiating factor, and so far, that just hasn't happened.
I think if he's ever able to get the ganks mid lane without a hitch, that would be a miracle. Like, Rek'Sai is a great ganker, but the issue is he's dealing with a Lucian with cleanse. Lucian and cleanse, and you recognize that Ix is around the mid lane pretty consistently, that's a pretty easy gank pressure. There we go. Looks like Southwind's got the pick.
Southwind wasn't expecting that one, but they will have to back off knowing that Ix is in the vicinity. Once again,
they're going for it again.
On the map. They want to look for it. Control ward's down. Forcing out the flash from Ix. Good work there from Xiaopeng. They will get the advantage in the jungle, and Twilight and Mark still hanging around here.
Yeah, just trying to stay long enough for the blue buff. You've already seen throughout the entirety of the series, it's been the same game as Xiaopeng just looking to steal your blues. He's trying to just buff up the stats a little bit. When you get to the stats sheet, you're like, he's counter jungled that much? He's really done a lot to keep Ix down.
Now he's going to try and pick up the dragon third time in a row. I think it's going to work for a third time as well, Raz. There's no contest here from Ix because he's backing.
Yeah, so it's going to be nice to have that Earth Dragon. It allows his lanes right now with bottom lane consistently, you know, pushing out with the pressure that they've had. Oh, ooh. That's what happens when you get Essence flexed. You know, W on top of your head with an ultimate fully proccing you. That does a lot of damage. But they're still going to keep up with the sustain that Gala has had with the potion. So at least he's going to be able to push up. But my point is, with Earth Dragon, you can now allow yourselves to get that nice, juicy turret plating a little easier.
You got a whole 6 minutes
Get
left.
Him.
Oh, nice. Stops the back. Shuriken flip, not going to land though, but that wastes a lot of time for Chalitza. He's not going to be able to back now unless he wants to miss a cannon wave. So a bit of an advantage here in the top lane for Changhong, who's doing admirably better this time.
My memory evades me, so I'm not sure if his teleport's enabled. So if you can just walk up and ignite Changhong, if he would have his teleport off cooldown just yet. So that's something that I would wonder about. Then he could just dump it on top of Changhong's head anytime he wants. That being said, he's already pretty healthy in lane, so I don't see any advantage of him basing.
Yeah, still got the corrupting potion. A little bit of damage coming out there from Twyla onto the mid lane. And now he's going to go with Xiaopeng. Pressure into the jungle and search for Ix. Look for a kill.
You saw the ping too. Oh, get out of here. Don't touch me. You're not charming. Oh no, Jay, get out.
Xiaopeng looking for it, not going to find it. Jay going to stay safe for now. He still has his cleanse as well, so not a lot they can do to threaten onto this mid lane.
Yeah, as his cleanse. That was the best part about it. He's able to keep it. He would have gotten out of the gank anyways, but the fact that he's able to stay in lane a lot longer. That being said, take a look at the minimap. Rise is on the move.
Rise is on the move, but so is Vici. Sending Southwind and Ix all the way up.
Yeah, get out of here. You don't want to touch that. You don't know where the Alistar is, and you're pretty sure that Xin Zhao's on the top side of the map.
Uh-oh. Changhong isn't heeding the warning, though.
Wait a minute.
Changhong! Can you hear me?
It's okay. It's all right. He has
okay,
his ultimate. He has his W. He's actually just so much. Akali can be at the moon. And you know what? It doesn't matter. She can get back safely even without without a shuttle. She's fine.
She's going to stay safe for now in this early game. Not been as explosive as we were expecting. Yes, SDG picked up the first blood, but that was just a solo kill. This is a lot slower than I think SDG were hoping for.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that Xiaopeng and Twyla in particular really wanted the mid lane gank to work out for themselves. It's really just been Jay who's adapted as a player, and that's a lot of damage on the puff. That can change the pace of the game, honestly, if they just want to pressure bottom lane tower.
He did, however, use ultimate for it. Get punished if a gank comes out, but for now it doesn't look like that's the case. Puff gonna regen up, but that's his last potion. So we'll see if the poke
comes up. This is what I hate about the meta currently. Everyone and their mama has sustain. Like legitimately, if you take a bad trade, you either have teleport, like the usual triple teleports right now SDG has for themselves, or you have the sustain of having biscuits in your inspiration tree in your secondary. So at the moment, getting pushed out of lane is very difficult. It doesn't happen unless if you made a crucial error.
Requires a lot more mana than most champions have and a lot more time than most people can put up with. So Twyla now staying in lane through the grace of lots of shields.
Feels good.
Yeah, he doesn't have sustain, but he doesn't take damage, so he's fine. Mark looking for the engage again, but he's getting countered onto, and that was a lot of damage from Puff.
Yeah, he should be very happy that Puff doesn't have his ultimate, because that would have just been an ultimate just flying at his head with an Essence Flux already locked onto him. So you can see Mark just looking for a time to base. He should be fine with Gala being able to stay in lane for a little bit longer. And on top of that, he has teleport coming out soon. Like, I love this meta. So we'll see. We'll see if anything ends up happening. Because right now, I think Xiaopeng's done his job exceptionally. He's able to out-farm the Xin Zhao, like, to a ridiculous point. Has a level advantage here. And on top of that, able to just constantly match, track, able to know where Xin Zhao is at all times. So if you're Ike's, feels like game one just a little bit.
The difference, though, this time is that SDG were looking for a little bit of action there in the early game. They haven't found it yet. It's almost hit 14 minutes, and this will be the first turret plating that is taken anywhere on the map. Now that this is the game that has developed, what is SDG looking to do instead?
I would say look towards the dragon. Next one's going to be really beneficial. Remember, they had the first mountain dragon, so another mountain dragon would go to the same goal of just chipping towers. They don't have that much of an opportunity to really get more turret plating with the 1 minute left on the turret platings, really. But it would make it so if they ever look towards Baron, like, this team is so good on Baron. Kai'Sa and Ryze, so much damage that they can really work with, so it doesn't really matter if they have any tanky members. They don't, but they just have, like, machine guns in 2 of their carry positions. And on top of that, if they can get this double Mountain Dragon, Vici Gaming have to stop them.
They're looking to contest. They have 4 down here on the bottom side of the map. Their 5th is walking down. Changhong has teleport, so he can answer, but if Chalitza gets there fast enough and puts enough of a dent in the fight, it won't matter.
I think Vici Gaming will just start it. Remember, they have mid lane pressure and they have their top laner with them. TP is there for Changhong, but I don't know if he has a good ward to work with.
Just 2,000 left. There goes the teleport, and they're forcing off Ike's. He's still on it, though.
They're surrounded.
They secure the dragon, but here's the engage. Mark with a great one. He gets tons in the knock-up and the charm, but it's not going to be enough. They're getting wiped across the board already, and SDG don't want to keep losing men.
If you just take a look at the composition SDG have, who's going to be the follow-up? You saw Xiaopeng, but he's way too squishy with his Warriors build to really, like, deal enough. It would ideally be Changhong, and that's where the issue of this composition relies on. Changhong needs a flank ward to put Vici into a weird disarray position. But they were grouped up, they were ready for it. Take a look at this. Even though Mark gets a beautiful ultimate, just take a look at this 1 second. Boom. Who's going to go in on this? Xiaopeng naturally says, well, I'll do it. But then at this point, Ike's has used his ultimate, so he's created a great aura and space for Galat to deal 0 damage. There's no real follow-up to really move in on.
And this was a bit of the same. Oh, Rift Herald gonna potentially go down here for Vici, but for SDG, it's a problem they had before with these team fights where they were pushing their advantage too much last game. And similarly, lost them a team fight. Then the lead was in Vici's hands. So it looks like history repeating itself. They need to fight against it. They need to find a play that they know will work, that they prepare for ahead of time. But so far, not been the case.
Yeah, early on in this game, you need creativity if you're Sino. You need the ability to say, okay, the flank word, do we have it? Great. Or if we don't, then Changhong can take the long way around to try and achieve it. Otherwise, front to back is not going to work in the nature of it. Or they don't have that for themselves, then prolonging the game to a point where Gala has a great item lead for himself, or if Twyla has his Banshee's Veil, then he can have enough damage to go front to back. It really is a scaling game for SDG, because if they do not have the ability to take the fights like you already saw, then they need to wait long enough. And I think right now, SinoDragons are just going to take the waiting game. Any lost fight from this point forward would cost them with 4 minutes left for Baron.
Unfortunately for them, though, the next dragon up is going to be Infernal, and Baron will be up in 4. So it's a lot on the map that they need to scale past, but if they lose it, they get put in a really tough position. The Herald being dropped mid lane by Vici.
That's what stinks about Season 9. If you're trying to be a scaling composition, you're not going to see a Kog'Maw anymore. You're not going to see like picks that really rely on 30, 40 minutes, simply because there's so much in the game that encourages you to fight. The dragons got buffed, that was big. The turrets, pre-14, turret plating, humongous. And then on top of that, there's just, like, we already talked about the Scuttle Crabs being beneficial with the experience that it gives you. There's just so much on the map that you can now be able to pick up for yourselves. And it's now SDG in this composition that's suffering.
Vici have picked up all of it. Now they're looking for their mid lane tower. Going to open up the map a little bit. 2 more outer towers remaining for them as they push away back towards the mid. And now SDG are going to struggle here to stop the rest of the towers going down because they're a little bit disorganized. But Changhong able to hold on to bot for the time being at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just taking a look at the clock and you say, what are they going to do for the next 3-4 minutes, right? Just based off of what the book tells you, 101 should just be Chalice staying bottom lane. He may not take tower, but he makes it so Changhong is completely useless. Changhong cannot be on the opposite side of the map in what was already a losing 4v4. He can't join them. And then you say, well, what is now Twyla going to do? Maybe you can stay on side lane, but you already see that they position Jay on the top side of the map. So Lucian's going to have great push. Urgot's going to do the same. All pressure is in favor of Vici Gaming, and they should be able to get the control wards where it's necessary. They can go right now back to the bottom lane because the next one's going to be Infernal.
Now SDG backing, perhaps in anticipation of this next objective fight. 45 seconds till Infernal Dragon spawns. Changhong going to push out the bottom lane, get them a little bit of much-needed pressure. Xiaopeng will back him up. But Chalitza, quick wave clear, doesn't much matter.
May seem like a boring way to play the game, but what can you really do against it? Real question. I mean, he has himself the strongest magic resist item in the game, so like, Kali can't deal lasting damage. She now has the sustain with her Gunblade, but she's not going to really change the setting. Like, Chalice is going to stay comfortably under his tower, and at the same time, if he wants to, he can push out. Look at what he's doing right now. So he has 2 options. Stand strong like a tank under tower and keep Changhong interested, or push with the auto attacks, the Q, all of that jazz, and place wards, rotate to your team, and he's doing the latter.
Now he has rotated Changhong, stuck in the bottom lane, clearing out the ward, but Infernal's on the map. Xiaopeng nowhere in a position to answer.
Yeah, not really much you can do. Think of it away and like you're just getting chained down.
STG at this point are really just conceding everything across the map. We talked about it, they need to scale up. Ryze has finished his tier item, fully upgraded now, still has the shield, but everyone else struggling in their itemization.
Remember the last game? Last game, the way Vici got back into it was tricking SDG. SDG went towards Dragon. You know, it was Vici saying, okay, we're on Baron. Vici took that option away from them. It was really just Southwind saying, hey, you know what? Pick up the Dragon for yourself before Baron spawns. Now that Baron is up and available, we can put full attention here. There's no swap in motion. You don't give the enemy team a second chance. So right now, it's very linear on what SDG has to do to succeed. Pick up waves, get closer to your item spike, and defend Baron, because there's nothing else on this map.
And if it gets down to a point where they have to defend Baron, again, the problem with their composition is that they don't have an easy follow-up on the engage. So if Mark goes in, great, cool. You're in Baron pit now. What do you have to follow up? You have the AoE from Twyla, which is great if everyone's still in the pit. But if you can't get a clean engage, if you can't get a clean flank from Changhong, you're just going to lose your team and the Baron.
And it's important to also just point out what these damaged junglers provide for their teams in team fights. Xin Zhao has an amazing ultimate. He's not a tank, but it feels like he's a tank. Gonna have to use Ryze ultimate, just tricking them. There's nothing here. Don't use an ultimate, you're fine. So Xin Zhao could say, okay, it's cool. Like, I'll press ultimate for however long that it's up, and we have so much space that Galak cannot walk up to us. Now, if you're looking towards Rek'Sai, major reason that he's not seeing play is because, well, his ultimate just throws himself right at, you know, the entire team. Like in a team fight thing, that's actually just that's the scariest thing you can do as a damaged champion. So like, his most important factor as a champion is actually to just stay still, keep a distance, and use your passive to make sure that they're not on Baron.
Right now, As boring as it may be, that's all that Xiaopeng's able to do. In the later stages of the game, maybe he can put pressure on 80 carries. Maybe he can put pressure and try and get the assassinations with the ultimate or disrupt. But for now, just doesn't have the items, doesn't have the advantage.
So one thing that I was worried about from the draft of Rek'Sai coming into this game, because I loved Rek'Sai when you look at the whole vantage point of using your passive to keep the enemy jungler down, and he did that. He was actually very successful at doing that, but he couldn't land the gank, and that one was the most important. Because now that the laning phase is over, look at what he's dealing with. That is a double AD carry, both of them incredibly mobile, so you're not going to be getting on top of either the Lucian or the Ezreal. And also on top of that, you have the enemy jungler that just presses ultimate and he just pushes you back, so he kites you. There is so much kiting ability that Xiaopeng is almost just like completely settled to just getting hit in the face by this and just staying underground and finding where the enemy team is. He cannot look to engage. He has to play follow-up at all times.
And even his early game advantage has been neutralized by this point. I mean, look at the jungler he supposedly kept behind. He's only down like 15 CS, and he's up in assists. And now the Baron getting taken there by Vici. SDG, Mark is the only one here even looking to contest.
For it.
It's already down to 5.5k. This is going Vici's way.
Completely broke their ankles. This is a free take because it was Gala and Changhong that were looking to get the kill on Chalitza. Guess what Chalitza does? The smartest thing you can do. Back away, recognize that the AD carry is coming to him, teleport towards the Baron, so now there are two members of SDG down that cannot help him. That was so well done from Chalitza to give them that Baron advantage.
And now Vici have executed what their compositions in the game prior needed to do. Wait up, scale a little bit, take the objectives this time. They don't even have to scale, but they waited, they kept the pressure on until they positioned themselves in such a way that SDG had nothing to contest with.
And this is 3 games in a row that Chalitza has just wilded out. He has done so well in every game, where he's just either given, like in his Urgot play, had such a great laning phase versus Changhong, even though they lost the game. He stood out as an individual performer. And it was the previous games of the Sion one where he just had great team fighting. And on this one, where he just was really out-mentaled SDG. So far, he's been the main carry. He needs an MVP. I'd give it to him just for free. Why not? I don't care if Ike's for the next, 20 minutes, however long this game lasts, just goes off, has like a Michael Jordan performance. He's got to give at least one to Chalitza. He's been doing so well. He's working for it.
And just quietly, too. It hasn't been terribly flashy, but he's stayed alive in the lane. He's kept up pressure where he wasn't expected or even needed to, and it saved his team.
God.
But no, Xiaopeng, goodbye, has to flash over the wall, and he'll make it out alive. But now, ultimate's blown for Vici. Can they get the return kill? SDG pick up Southwind. Looks like that's all for now, but slowing down a Baron push, it's more than they could have asked for.
Yeah, that was a big slowdown. Remember, that cow is pretty squishy. Went towards the redemption. So that now suddenly SDG can go for it. So I thought that was beautiful. It's just unfortunate that Xiaopeng has Flash his own, so he can get that out pretty quickly. The follow-up wasn't fast enough. They don't have burst damage. They have great sustained damage with Lucian and Ezreal, but not enough to just 100-0 Xiaopeng.
And SDG with that rotation up towards the mid, cut off Vici so they couldn't run through, kept the pressure off, got the free tower, and now they can rotate down to this dragon, which, like Baron, they'll take incredibly quickly if they get the opportunity.
That was so funny. Honestly, I would say Southwind tried to just steal an MVP from Chalitza. He was like, you know what, I'm just going to make an outstanding performance that will live in every highlight play on Bilibili, on YouTube. Everyone will look at that and be like, take Alistar away from him by any means possible. But he made a highlight on himself. He's probably going to be like on some blooper reel for that one.
Everyone's going to be in the draft phase like, all right, give Southwind Alistar, take away the Thresh. We know the Thresh can do things. The Alistar, maybe not so much.
I mean, if they do that, then they're just running themselves into the biggest trap of all time. Now, I love this guy's Alistar. He's always been great on 3 champions. I think his Thresh, Alistar, and Braum has been his best champion, so it's fun that the Braum comes into mind because he likes to play as an engage option. Speaking of engages, let's go.
Realmort going in. It looks like Twyla going to follow it. The ultimate from Ike's to answer. And now Southwind getting in the back, trying to interrupt everything. Changhong barely alive.
Oh!
The ultimate not quite going to take him down. He's still alive there in the back line. Gala looking for a way into the fight, but Xiaopeng gets taken out. Chalitza chasing down. And it looks like SDG are routed back to their base. Vici pick up one, and they're looking for more.
Yeah, they're running with a wave, too. So this is the easiest tower in their lives. That was so well done. Honestly, Changhong may have not gotten down, but that was so well played to just burst him down. Wait a minute, they're just going to go for it? Wait a second.
They're going for the end. Ezreal, a lot of damage. Lucian as well.
Yeah, I didn't think so. You got to relax.
Yeah, they're going to get taken out there. Still, mid lane inhibitor, mid lane inhib tower. Pretty good off just one pick.
Yeah, insane, honestly. You get to a point where, at this point, Vici game, you just don't know how to stop impressing me. I'm getting impressed way too much by all of the individual members. Southwind's headbutt, delayed pulverize, really put this Xin Zhao in a tough position. Take a look at this early. I just love to see this because when he goes in, boom, boom. A lot of damage onto Changhong because of how long he was just up in the air and like put in a really poor position. And I said it from the beginning of the game, like the Akali really needs a good flank option before Gala and Twyla gets to a good item break point. They are, like, at this point, it's going to be them reaching for, like, 10 more minutes. So Changhong just has to try and find a great flank or he's not going to find anything at all.
Well, Twyla has finished the Frozen Heart now. Going to be pretty beefy on that rise, slowing down the attack speed around him. Should help in the team fights just a little bit. But again, Gala still not on that Runin's Hurricane, still at the 2 items. So dangerous time here for SDG.
It looks like they're just going to keep themselves at a 2 damage threat composition. Twyla went towards the Frozen Heart, so the triple AD, I guess quadruple, like they have a full AD composition with the Lucian, Ezreal, Xin Zhao, and Urgot. He's not going to be dealing as much damage as he could, but he wants to stay in the fight as long as he can.
Turk going to get a lot of pressure here. Vici goes for the engage. Ike's followed by Southwind. A lot of damage. They pick up 1. They pick up 2. Mark and Twyla both down. Galan not able to find anything. Changhong forced out of the fight. And then the 80 carry for SDG, the only one able to do anything. A great killer instinct, but it's not going to matter as Vici push into the base, get the second inhib, and look for the end of the game.
I know they lost it all, but Galan, that was sick. All right, I'm ready. I mean, it's sad that it took them this long to find something, but it was just Vici putting them in a chokehold. That was the slowest and cleanest game I've seen from Vici Gaming. They finally not only took a team to a 3-game series, but they got the job done.
Their first victory here in the LPL, and it was a well-deserved one. That last game played so carefully. They were tight on their execution, and that was something we hadn't seen from them before. They knew their goals, they stuck to them, stuck the landing, got the Baron, pushed it in for the win.
Final time we get to see them before, you know, Chinese New Year's. And at this point, if you're Vici Gaming, you see the smiles on them. This is time to celebrate. Not only did you get your first win for your team, also solidified, I would believe, your spot on the team. All of these members played so well coming into it, and they now have an excuse. You know, you come into the season and you lose to EDG. It's like, well, that was going to happen. Like, what were we going to do? You lose to Suning, and you're like, yeah, I mean, this was really tough. It comes down to experience, and then you go up against the inexperienced. You go up against Sino, and you just outskill them in lanes. Chalitza played so well in the laning phase consistently throughout the series. And then when it comes to the team fighting, I don't have to say too much about it. I thought that Ike's in Game 3 really found that redemption for what was happening in the past 2 games.
Disrupting those fights in the middle of the back of it, creating so much space for them, provided Vici with the freedom they needed to get the damage down before any response could come out from SinoDragon. But speaking of SDG, they did okay.
Until Southwind hit him with a hook.
Yeah, I feel like Southwind just kind of killed their spirit in Game 2, but Game 1, I was really liking what I was seeing from them. They were able to push a lead and keep up with it, keep the momentum. But this game, the exact opposite. Vici in control the entire time.
Yeah, and I think that this was the story. The story was Southwind came in hot with Puff, as per usual. We saw that. You know, we saw that with the first movie, the second one. In the trilogy, we needed to see something different. We needed to see other members start to style, and it felt like Chalitza really came in, really comfortable. Jay on his Lucian, Now you could say that Jay can play, because in the previous games, Jay was having a legitimate tough time versus Twyla. And then this time around, picks up what has to be a flex pick, as in like super comfortable. Creative drafting from Vici, and members showed up. Because you said it going into Game 3, like we didn't really have that much faith in Vici Gaming after Game 2. Because Sino just made silly mistakes. But it gave enough time for Vici to really just adapt.
They recovered. They recovered their mental, recovered their strategy, and the drafting was really where they shined in that last game. Because, let's be honest, who's expecting that Lucian mid pick?
Not me.
I was like, okay, they got Lucian. That's good. They're winning the bot lane.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. There's an Ezreal. How'd that happen? Wait a minute.
I'm enjoying it, and they came in as comfortable as can be. It was like he played Lucian, like he was like a Lucian-only account in solo queue. I really love the fact that he was able to play with how much jungle pressure that was in his lane.
And now we're going to be going into our second series very soon. But before that, thank you for watching. We'll be back in just a few minutes with V5 versus OMG.
There we go.